So what drew you to Man in the High Castle?
I had read the book in college, like so many people, and loved the book. And my friend David Zucker, who's a producer for Ridley Scott, had been trying to get it made for 5 years, couldn't. And he said, "Will you have a crack at it?" And I said, "Oh, sure," without having read the book again. And so after I'd agreed, I read the book again, and I realized, wow, this is a really tough book to adapt. And that's how I got involved.
Did you read the sequel to it, though?
Well, there's 2 chapters he wrote,
Yeah.
and I did read those 2 chapters.
Yeah.
And the character of Heydrich, who's a real Nazi, figures in those, and he figures in our season 1. Spoiler.
Why is this the right time, do you think, to present this story?
Well, I didn't know that it was the right time necessarily, but I was really pleasantly surprised by the response we got after the pilot was put on the service. And I think we're in such a polarized time politically in this country. People are just really gridlocked. People are so entrenched in their extreme positions. And I think a show like this reminds you about what unites us and what we stand for and what our common values are. And I think people forget that. And there's a number of scenes in this. And in the pilot, there's that scene with the state trooper and the ash coming down, but there's many more scenes coming where it's so close to our country, it's so close to our reality, and it's slightly off. And you can't help but think, what's the difference? And what do we stand for? And I like that. I like that this show is hopefully very entertaining, but it also invites you to ask questions.
Is it interesting to you how this got greenlit, where it was like a democratic process too? It's like it goes so against some of the themes in this show.
Yes, well, now that it's been greenlit, I really like that process. At the time, I was very worried about it, to be honest, because it's pretty embarrassing to fail publicly. Usually you make a pilot and nobody sees it if they don't like it. And in this case, to have people vote is a little unnerving. But it actually was a great asset because, as I said, I got to think about why people responded to the show. And then when we were gathering actors and crew to produce the series, we kind of had our pick because people had seen the show, they knew it was well received, they liked it, and it was much, much easier than longer to move forward.
So the changes between the book and the series, like for example, making it a film rather than a book that's being passed around, why the reasons for...
Well, that was the first thing that occurred to me, is that it should be a film, not a book, because obviously of the medium we're in, which is a visual medium. And I did think seeing that newsreel footage will have a power for all of us that just hearing about a book would never have. Of course, it's a significant change because that's a literal thing. It's a physical object of film. It's writing a book. It comes from one's imagination. So that requires a different mythology that is in the book. But the Man in the High Castle still plays the same thematic role that he does in the book. And I think there's a lot of changes I made. There's characters I added. There's an awful lot of plot I added that was not in the book. But it was all designed to stay true to the ideas in the book. That was really my intent, because I think the book is so challenging and rich, and he really was so far ahead of his time. And I wanted to honor him in the book that way by giving more space to explore the themes that he explored.
I know it's a massive spoiler alert, but the ending of The Man in the High Castle in the actual book is a little bit convoluted.
Yeah, well, people still don't know what it means.
Yeah, exactly. Have you kind of made sure that it's more acceptable to audiences so they actually understand where it's going, or are you going to keep it?
Well, our ending's going to be quite different.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on a different path. But I think, weirdly, we have more room than he had in the book to explore these themes. And we're going to be able to, if the show goes on, we'll be able to explore all kinds of things that the book didn't get a chance to.
How much did you take the public's reaction to the pilot into account in going into production on the rest of the series?
I have always been dumb enough to read everything online. When X-Files started, it was the beginning of this. I remember the very first news groups. When I remember the screen, black and green. I'm old enough to remember all that. And I always read everything, and it's quite painful, as I'm sure you know. And I still do that. There's like 13,000 comments now. I probably read all 13,000 comments. In this case, actually, it wasn't that helpful because most of them were so positive. But every once in a while, you read something, a question somebody has, a point somebody has, and you go, oh, that's interesting. I don't think you want to write for those people, but it's a tool. I'm a big believer in using tools wherever I can find them to help me tell the story.
When you read The Man in the High Castle for the first time, what was the reception like? Was it like a popular thing? Was it people?
Well, first of all, when I saw the cover, I was like immediately like, what? Nazis in America, what? And I think, look, I was a huge consumer of television and movies as a kid, and so I was very used to happy endings. And it really struck me that there's nothing inevitable about a happy ending. You can't assume the good guys are going to win. And actually, if you look at history, bad guys win an awful lot. I do think, as our president likes to say, the long arc of history bends toward justice. I do think that's true. But in the short term, there's some really pretty terrible things that happen. And that just made me think. I think that's why the book stayed with me all those years. And it's very much part of what the TV series is about, is don't assume the good guys are going to win. And I would say, that's kind of the thing the show says to modern audiences is, if you want to change the world, you better do it. Because it's not going to just happen on its own.
What do you think about this idea of binge watching and how people might sit down and watch the series all in one clip as opposed to having a week to digest it until the next installment comes out?
Well, I thought about that a lot, and I really do consider this a different form. And I have nothing against the classic episodic form. I love it. And obviously, most of my career has been spent doing that, but this is not that.
It's like a 10-hour movie.
It is like a 10-hour movie or like a novel. And I look at the storytelling novelistically, and I don't feel the obligation to repeat situations or information. I just assume that people are going to watch all 10 as one narrative, and if there's more, season 2, it's the same thing. You can just, like a novel, keep going to different places and situations and characters. You don't have to have that format of a traditional TV series.
What's the process been like working with Amazon so far? It's been a lot of freedom to do whatever you guys are looking for?
Yeah, it's funny because on the one hand, they give you a lot of money. It's more money than I ever had in a TV series. And then they also give you a lot of freedom. Like, they interview with us. And I actually felt, I have never asked them about this, but I almost felt like it was a conscious decision on their part. Like, I'm sure they had more notes. I know they did, but they just didn't give them. They just gave you, like, their main ones. And then they sort of trusted that you would figure out the rest, which I thought was incredibly brave, considering especially the investment they were making in the show, and they're a new service trying to make a name. And they really put a lot of trust in us to deliver this. So if we screw it up, it's on us.
Did you ever? Sorry.
I was just going to say, in the pilot, I think the most unsettling parts are, seeing a swastika on the American flag or a Nazi officer with an American accent. Is that kind of your intention with this show, rather than having these big, shock value moments?
Yes. I mean, there are some genre elements. Occasionally there'll be a shootout or an explosion or something like that, but to me that's not the most interesting part of this show. This show is much more interesting, exactly the moments you said, the things where it's like it's so close to our society, yet slightly off. And that's what's been really rewarding about it, is finding these character situations, these human situations that you barely get the chance to explore.
How did you embed the Japanese culture in the show?
Well, it's interesting. I didn't do a ton of research for the pilot, but then we did get a Japanese historian who was present throughout the writing of the rest of the series. She felt I'd been too kind to the Japanese in the pilot, and it's funny because I spoke to 3 Nazi historians before I wrote the pilot, because I wanted to sort of update my understanding of Nazi history or alternate history since Philip K. Dick wrote the novel 53 years ago. And you could fill library after library with history books about the Nazis and what they did. But you try to do the same thing for the Japanese side of the war. It's very tough. There's not nearly as much as been written. So anyway, we do start to get into that. And to me what's interesting, and you see this in the pilot, is it's like there's 2 Japans. There's the Japan that's represented by characters like Tagomi, which is a spiritual Buddhist culture, very beautiful, very thoughtful. And then there's Imperial Fascist Japan, which most of us don't remember. It's hard for us even to imagine that Japan was like that, but it was. It's like a chapter of history that is fast fading. So the show sort of forces us to reopen that chapter.
The decision to go to Amazon instead of Netflix, how did that happen?
They came to me. I mean, the show was really, Scott Free was about to lose the rights to the novel, and this executive, Morgan Wandell, who I worked with at ABC when I did Night Stalker, had just got the job at Amazon. And he called me during the Christmas vacation, and he said, do you have any script you love that hasn't been made? We're looking for really great shows at Amazon, really ambitious. I said, well, as it happens, and incredibly, he read it, he liked it, and this actually happened. That's never happened to me before. Get a call like that and have it lead to anything. It did.
So having worked on X-Files, what is it like for you to come to these events? Are you just, are people coming up to you and talking about the show?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. It's such a gift. And X-Files has been such a gift to my life. And I think people who follow this kind of show, and I don't say this just to be flattering, I think it's true, they tend to be very bright people because these are idea-driven stories. And I think whether people realize it or not, that's why they love them so much. There's a world of ideas they can engage with, and they're hungry for that. And I do think that's gone out of public life a lot. I think we're all very cynical, and we're all very pragmatic. We're hungry for ideals and meaning, bigger ideas. So, I love that about coming to places like this.
Besides the pilot, besides the NBC pilot taken in, you think the second season is going to happen?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, they got to let us know pretty quickly, actually, for the air dates. So I'm thinking about it a lot. Actually, I'm just on the plane over from London this morning. I was writing ideas for season 2, so I'm hoping it's going to happen.
I love the pilot, so I hope it does.
Ideally, how long would you like it if everything kind of went perfectly? How many seasons do you see it going for?
It's funny. Initially, I thought, maybe 3, maybe 5, and then I thought, actually, you've got the whole world. And it goes back to your question about the form of the show. A Dickens novel could go on for 1,000. There's so many situations you could explore in the show if you have the resources to do it. But I don't really know. I don't know how long.
So with the first 10 episodes shot, so how far did you actually get in the story? If, God forbid, it doesn't get picked up, are we going to have some sort of closure with that, or?
You have a complete story that comes to an end. But there's obviously an awful lot not answered. I mean, that was kind of the strategy I did learn from X-Files that I applied here too, which is you answer a question and you raise 3 more questions. And that's what the show's doing.
That shot of Times Square in the pilot, it reminded me of Blade Runner, and I've heard other people say it evokes Blade Runner. Did you draw inspiration from that?
Yeah, that's the great thing about working with Ridley Scott. You can rip him off without embarrassing him. But he said, he cited Blade Runner as an example of something we should be referring to visually. And the Conformist Bertolucci movie, I mean, there were probably about 10 or 15 movies, and he said, go study these movies and look at the compositions and the lighting. And there were painters, like Edward Hopper comes to mind, he said, look at these paintings for compositions. And so I think as you see the show, not just the pilot, it does continue. I mean, I really think the show is visually just as spectacular. Usually there's a big drop-off after the pilot. I don't think that happens in the show. I think you'll see those influences if you're looking for them.
With it being the 1960s, but with it being the 1960s, but not really the 1960s, how much did you kind of change historically to play with?
That's the really tough balance. Is that we want it to feel like the past, and we all have, whether we were alive or not, we have an idea of what the early 60s were like in the United States. And so it has to feel familiar, and yet it's got to be unfamiliar. And so that balance is always the thing. And there's a lot of design elements that we decided would never have happened if there was an optimism after the GI Bill and the baby boom, and there was like the Jetsons era and the big wings on fins on cars and stuff like that. That we decided none of that would have happened. And so that influenced the design of the world. there's an idea that John F. Kennedy stopped wearing hats, and that's why hats went out. So John F. Kennedy was never president in this world. People still wear hats. Like, all kinds of discussions like that. Really, if the pilot, there's probably like, and this is not an exaggeration, like 1,000 decisions like that. And that was what was daunting about it, is because you knew whatever you established in the pilot, that's it. For however many years the show goes, so you better make sure you've thought it through, because you're going to have to live with those decisions for a long time.